All right, here we go. So in math, we've been working on a question like this. 3.28 times 4, like this. And most of you have done a great job. You recognize that the decimal changes things a little bit, but not too much. One of the things the decimal changes when it comes to multiplication is in the answer. So let's answer this question first. When we do multiplication in this style, we start with this number here, and then we multiply upwards. What is 8? 4 times 8? Justin?
32.
So I put the 2 here, and plus 3 up here. Then I come back to this 4 again, and this time I go 4 times 2, which is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. And I put the plus 1 up there. And then I start at this 4 again, and I go all the way over here. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13, and there's lots of room, so I can write the whole answer this time. What's the last step to make sure we get this answer correct? There was a decimal, and there are 2 digits after the decimal. Olivia?
You put the digit in between the 3 and the 1.
You're you want me to put the decimal in between the
sorry.
3 and the 1. That is 100% correct. So it goes right there. And now our answer is 13.12. Now, I also showed you that there's a way you can check to see if your answer is right. We can do an estimate. So I'll write the question again right here in purple. Do an estimate. Don't do the math for this question. Do an estimate. And how you do an estimate with decimals in multiplication, just look at the whole number right here. We have a 3, we have a times, and we have a 4. So this answer should be around, I'm going to put this little squiggly mark, that means approximate. This answer should be around 12. And if you look at our actual answer, this is just 13.12. So 13 and a little bit. So we're pretty close to our estimate. It was going to be somewhere around 12. Any questions with that? All right, so then it came time to division. So this time you had a question like this. Oops, I forgot my decimal. There, we'll do that. So here we have a question with a decimal. And again, it's pretty easy to solve. This would have looked like, these are the same questions. I just turned it into this shape so it's easier so we can do the work. So Ainsley Brown, what is the first step when we do solve division? We look at the first number. 5 goes into 4. How many times, Ainsley?
0.
Correct. So I put a 0 here. 5 times 0 is 0. 4 minus 0 is 0. And now the 8 falls down. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a 4. That's my mistake. I got carried away with my zeros. Hold on. Eris. Yes, but some people have been, when you're doing decimals, some people forget the 0 at the beginning and then they get confused where the decimal goes. So it's a little bit easier if we put the 0 in just so we can see it. So now we do 5 goes into 48 how many times?
9.
9 times, which makes 45. We subtract the 2. 48 minus 45 is 3. The 5 falls down now. 5 goes into 35 how many times?
7.
7. And that makes 35, which is exact, and 0. So our answer is done, but we have this pesky decimal. Where's the decimal going to go in our answer now? Vitas? Vitas says after the 0 right here. He's almost right. How many numbers do we have after the decimal, Vitas? Here's the decimal. How many numbers do we have after the decimal?
1.
So how many spots in does the decimal move in?
1.
So where should the decimal be?
After the 9.
Somewhere between the 9 and the 7. So the final answer is, the correct answer is 9.7. And again, what if you had to do this question without the decimal? Your estimate. What if I asked you to divide 48 divided by 5 without the decimal? You would have probably figured out it's somewhere around 9 because 9 makes 45. Not right now, I don't, sorry. And that would have remained remainder 3. So you know that the answer is going to be 9 point something. 9.7 is the exact answer. So this would be your estimate. And this is your answer. Any questions with that so far? Yes, Callum?
Like, I'm going into a big test. Like, do you have to put the 0 in front of the 9?
It will help you out because if you remember your homework that we did in class, sometimes the decimal is between the 0 and the 9, and then people were like, where does the decimal go? And they get a little bit lost. So the answer is no, you don't. A lot of people don't. They just skip right to that. But if you're having a tough time with figuring out where the decimal goes, remember that 0 can be an actual answer in your division. I'll give you another, I'll give you a question where that makes a difference. Let's see. Okay. So if we start here, how many times does 5 go into 41, Cal?
9.
So I put a 9 here. Oh, 8. Sorry, yeah, because you need 40, not 45. Maybe it won't work with this one. This would be a 3, 15. Yeah, I need smaller numbers. But sometimes the point is, Callum, sometimes you'll get a 0 in here, and people will be like, I don't know how to get the 0 there, or I don't know what number this could be. So sometimes you have to remember zeros can be a possible answer at the top. That's why I want you to practice. So the last part of the lesson is really easy. What if you have a question like this? How could you figure out the answer real quickly? Here's a shortcut. Anytime you see a question that has 100, a 10, 1,000, 10,000, and you have times a decimal, there is a shortcut that you can always remember that makes it really easy. And you'll be 100% correct every time. I'll give you a clue. See if you can figure this out on your own. The answer to the first question is this. All right, so then look at the second one. What do you think the answer is for the second one? Give it a shot. Alex Campbell.
51.
Correct. Give it a shot for the next one. Olivia.
50.
It's tricky. Simon?
5,910.
Yep. And then our last one. This is a 0, 0, 0. And our last one, let's check in with Liam.
15. Well, 5,900 and 100.
There you go, just like that. So when it comes to multiplying zeros, you just count how many zeros you have, and that moves the decimal around. So again, I'll give you one more example of this question. If we had 6.78 times 10, how many zeros do we have? 1. So that means this decimal is going to move this way 1 spot. And the answer is 67.8. If I had 6.78 times 100, it means I have 2 zeros, so I move the decimal 1, 2 to here. There's nothing there, so it makes 678. And if I take 6.78 times 1,000, that means I move the decimal 1, 2, 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. That means a 0 has to drop into there, which makes 6, 7, 8, 0. I can't. Yeah, it's over here. So keep that in mind. And guess what? Division's even easier. It goes the opposite way. So if you had 6.78 divided by 10, the decimal moves the other way. So you have 1 0, so the decimal goes that way. And now the answer is 0.678. Any questions with this? Yes, Graham?
What if you had like 6.78 times like 87?
You would still have to do it the way we did it over here. It only works if it's times 10, 100, or 1,000, or 10,000. Does that make sense, Graham? Yeah, I'll write that down right here. We'll quickly give an example. So the shortcut we just learned only works for questions like this. Only when you have zeros, or 100, or 1,000, or 10,000, or even 1,000,000. Doesn't matter. As long as you have the zeros. That's where you can use the shortcut. But if you have this, you still have to do this the way we did it earlier. Does that make sense? Good question. You need to know the difference. All right. So is there any questions about how to multiply by tens, hundreds, and thousands, and how to divide by tens, hundreds, and thousands when it comes to decimals? Olivia.
Would it still work with like 50 and with the
That's a really good question, Olivia. Let's try it. 3.28. Can you see that? Yeah, 0.28 times 50. It won't really work that well. You would still have to do the good old-fashioned way of 0 times 8, 0 times 2, which we already know is 0, 0, 0. We have to put the automatic 0 here. And then you have to go 5 times 8, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, which is, if we solve it right now, 5 times 8 is 40, plus 4 up here. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14, so plus 1 up there. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So our final answer is this. We have two numbers after the decimal. That would be your final answer, 164.00. So it doesn't really work the same way. I'm glad you asked that question, Olivia.